I'm just realizing this isn't going through the right microphone.
Man, this is gonna sound so good once it's going through the right microphone. It's gonna blow our minds.
I have a professional microphone.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Handmade After Dark. At the first offline episode, yes, there is audio or a video if you're on YouTube, but it will also provide the audio option as always, and I will soon upload the episode 3 of the Handmade After Dark live. I just have to get around to edit out the break. That's literally the only thing I have to do, but hey, I'm lazy. And as you see, I'm joined by 3 lovely gentlemen. I'm joined by 2 lovely gentlemen and an asshole. Hey, Zach.
How's it going, man?
And the wonderful Alan Webster.
Hey.
And the lovely Bill, the ginger boar.
Hello.
And Bill, you're the only one here that's drinking, I presume?
Yes. I've already been down the pub today anyway, so it's fine.
I'm sadly out of beer, or else I would join you too. This podcast is only possible because of OBS, because recording output and input in one application is apparently an unsolved problem in the audio world. Like, both Audition, Audacity, and I tried something called N-Track, and there's one other thing. None of them does it. None of them.
No, yeah, it's really confusing. I mean,
it's extremely hard stuff. You have to call into the kernel, grab it directly, and translate it right out of the sound card. Very, very hard stuff here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a dog?
Yes, there is. It's my dog.
What? I'm going to see to my dog because he's being a bit mardy.
Yeah, you go.
Also, none of you understand what the word mardy means.
Oh gosh,
not familiar.
Yeah.
Gotta love dogs.
Why the hell don't you have a smartphone?
This problem would have been solved if you would have had one.
How would it be solved? Wait.
You get 1,000 alerts on your phone.
Yeah, well,
because I wrote to you on Twitter too, and you would you would have gotten a notification on your smartphone if you had one.
Oh, I don't know why nothing notified me. Hextrat should have notified me. I should have seen emails coming up, but I was playing some puzzle script games, and so I guess I just didn't catch any of the messages the way I normally would have. But Hexchat never turned blue, so that is definitely not my fault. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, Hexchat has a million bugs. I don't know. I can't wait until I turn my Linux server back on and have WeChat, just SSH back into WeChat.
I can't wait till the current insider build becomes.
It works. It works. Just update.
No, it's but only if you're insider.
Oh, you're not insider?
No.
Oh yeah.
You're insane? If Windows
I'm insane.
If Windows doesn't work ever, so why not be on the insider build in the first place?
Because Windows doesn't already work. So if I use the inside build, it would be even worse.
Not really though. Like, it's like sometimes your drivers just don't work when you start up, but whatever.
That's reason enough not to do it. Why are you dog going insane, Bill?
Sorry, he's a bit mardy. He wants to play. Mardy means sulky or moody. That is a colloquial term. It's not real English.
It's not real English.
Like, have any of you heard of the Arctic Monkeys? The band?
Yes.
No.
They've got an album called Mardy Bum. And that is very...
I see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't know that was the name of an album.
Okay,
yes.
so I
did not know that.
I guess since nobody else is throwing out a topic, I guess I'd like to throw out the first topic for this episode, I guess. So
go ahead.
I thought the topic was nothing ever works and we're sad.
No, well, yeah.
That's called a theme. That's a theme.
Yeah, that's a theme. That consists throughout each episode. But I guess this is something I doubt any of you. I don't know. I don't know if you guys personally, but so I guess we can just start all this. Has happened about sometime last week. Let's just say last Wednesday, and so everyone knows about YouTube here. I hope so. Alan, you don't have a smartphone, but I'm assuming you know what YouTube is.
I know what YouTube
YouTube you're talking about.
I've never heard of it. I only know Motion Bug. What is Motion Bug?
Okay, so YouTube, they people on there, they make money through ads and stuff like that, just normal stuff, monetization, stuff like that.
Those fiends.
But yeah, that's fine. but YouTube decided to change the TOS.
Oh yeah, that thing. No,
Yeah.
Yes,
the
that.
the TOS
I'm going to go into this more. They didn't really change the TOS per se. They just made everyone aware of it by demonetizing all of their videos.
No. Well, the thing that's happened is about 9 months ago, the TOS was changed, but they didn't enforce it very much. But they have since the 9 months ago been demonetizing a lot of videos, but the creators haven't been aware.
Okay, but this isn't the best part. Okay, so they've been losing out on money. They're not going to get their money because their videos were demonetized forever ago. They didn't even know. The best part is the actual terms of the TOS.
Oh yeah.
You can't bring up anything political at all. Anything about natural disasters. You can't curse. No partial nudity. So no shirts off. No anything.
You're not allowed to talk about suicide yet or anything.
Any of those.
Like sexual preferences or anything like that. It's a bit dodgy as well. It's like, so people who are talking about like serious topics like about suicide or like sexual orientation or like sexual education, no, they get banned. Sexual education.
No, they don't get banned. No, they just don't make money.
They don't get money. It's like
YouTube will classify them as not advertiser friendly.
Yeah,
I just don't get how they're actually allowed to do this. Like I mean, they're privately owned companies; so they can do whatever they want. But
they're doing nothing legally.
It's just so morally wrong.
What I don't
get,
I don't know about any of the things you're talking about. But what I don't get is why YouTube would even want to do that. Don't they also make money on ads? Wouldn't they have the prerogative to have as many ads on their site as possible? Like, I don't understand. I guess maybe with YouTube Red, are they trying to switch to a non-ad driven?
I don't think. I think they're trying to go for more premium.
The advertisers, not YouTube. It's the advertisers don't want to advertise on those sort of videos. Is
it the advertisers who are having like, we'll give you more money if you stop advertising on these videos?
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It's that the advertisers don't want. They want to be, hey, we want to get to the most audience. We want to get to the people who are going to buy the most. We want to get the people who are going to be clicking on our ads. But those sort of videos, they're not.
They don't get as much traffic.
No.
They even then, there are still a lot. For example, all the Philip DeFranco is a huge YouTuber. He does he does a news type show. He gets demonetized. Lots of people click on the ads there. But the thing is, he talks about a lot of stuff that a lot of advertisers don't want to be correlated with.
Yes.
They don't want to be correlated with all the suicides. If somebody killed somebody, which he obviously will talk about because police brutality is a big thing at the moment. But advertisers say, no, we don't want. So it's very. But he talked with his parent company. His company is owned by Discovery. Discovery that makes Discovery Channel, that sort of stuff. He talked with Discovery across their different YouTube channels. 900 videos were demonetized. 400 of those had been demonetized from the 9 months, and they didn't know because YouTube didn't tell them.
I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars just lost.
Millions, absolutely millions.
Yeah, I have a hard time understanding. Like, I guess I could see if the advertisers pressured YouTube into it, that would make sense. But from my point of view, thinking about the videos I put on YouTube, they're just exports of my Twitch streams. I don't want there to be ads on those videos anyway. And sometimes I play music, and then the copyright owners of that music put ads on my video. So now YouTube has incentivized me to curse out everyone and bring suicide into all of my programming streams in order to keep the ads off my videos. I'm going to begin this policy on my next stream.
Oh no, I totally know what to do. You should just in Fork Order, you need to change all the commands to something like suicide line, kill buffer, which already is
murder buffer.
Murder buffer. What else can we do here? Political panic. If you panic, panic the program.
You can even have Trump, and that kills the program. You can have you can change the schemes depending on what party you type in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I need to include 2 different color schemes, one for Democrats and one for Republicans.
Exactly. There'll be 2 color schemes now, and it's red or blue.
Yeah, but then you will have to force let's say on each boot up, after 30 minutes, it will choose one or the other, and you can't change it unless you boot it down because people are being forced to vote for Hillary or Trump or whatever the fuck they are.
See, but I just don't get how they're making money off of this. Like, actually, like, how is this making them more money?
Advertisers are happier, which will help them.
But are they just getting more premium ads? Like, are they like I just don't understand. Like, I know there's like the whole like ads, and then there's like the gold premium ads, and those get like $1 a view or something, and the other ones get like a penny a view or something. I guess. I mean, that's not what they are equivalent to, but it's like it's something like that.
Probably something like it, but I think also a lot of it is a lot of advertisers have been threatening, but leaving or giving them less money or ads, so they've just been doing it to keep their current revenue.
The other thing I don't get is like,
Ducky!
I mean, if we're talking about gigantic YouTube channels, then they are bringing in a lot of money. If we're not talking about gigantic YouTube channels, then the people affected couldn't have been making that much money because the internet ads are like worth nothing, basically. Like, the amount of money you get for hosting an ad on the internet is like hundreds of a penny per viewer or less. Like, it's
yeah, it's you pay.
It's just not worth that much because like if I have 100 viewers and they all see the same ad, there's a high chance that none of them clicked on it. Because how often do you actually click on ads?
Never.
Never.
I've accidentally once clicked on an ad.
It happens.
But, you know, it's
I have clicked on an ad intentionally once. But that's because I was sitting and thinking I should buy something like it, and then an ad for a pull-up. Like, I guess this is fate. Clicked on it.
No, I'm not going to say I've never clicked. I think I've clicked on maybe 2 or 3 internet ads in the entirety of my life in earnest. I've also done it for other reasons, like trying to spam ad clicks for experimental reasons.
Fair enough. I've also clicked on some ads like there's most stupidest outlandish things like, hey, if you buy these 3 for $7, we get them all. They're really stupid. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna see what this actually is.
Sometimes they're just so funny. You have to click on it and see like what they're actually.
Not because I want to buy the product, but
no, but that's how they get you.
I know.
I'm never gonna buy it.
I've actually clicked on a lot of ads using things on YouTube because of a really great technique they have on their mobile version, of YouTube. It's not an ad on the video, but
you can't
when you
type in, smartphone.
I have an iPod with a YouTube app.
Has an iTouch.
Or not a YouTube app, but yeah, I got an iTouch a long time ago because I thought I might try to develop on it, and I spent about a month looking at how that was going to work, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
And now I just like browse the internet with it in the morning before I get out of bed. But on the YouTube, on the internet, on their YouTube thing, I don't know if it's the app or if I go to the page. I think I just go to the page, but whatever. You type in the name of a video, and then it loads them up, and it's got like, tiny little screen, video, and like I've refined my search so that the first one up there will be the one I want to click usually. But then after about half a second, they bump all those down and put an ad right there. So I've clicked, but it registers on the ad and not on the video. And I always have to wait for it to move and then click where it's supposed to be. It's a great technique. Put the ads where the mouse is if no one's clicking on it.
You're just giving YouTube all the money. You're just by clicking on those ads accidentally.
They're geniuses, is what they are. They're geniuses.
That's marketing at its finest, right there. Making people accidentally click on things they don't want to click on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But a lot of times, even if you're not a person that's going to buy anything, the fact that you clicked and then now you have it in your brain, now you've seen it, now you may mention it. Like that's you say, but it doesn't matter if I clicked, I'll never buy it. That doesn't matter really, because you may say the name to somebody else, and they will buy it. That's so. A lot of marketing is just as much about making everybody know as making everybody buy.
Yeah, you want to create the image of we have enough money to advertise, so clearly we are making a good product. I mean, it's as simple as that.
I mean, that's how advertising is that expensive for YouTube. It can't be like there's like have you noticed now they've started to like if you're not running a VPN, which I always am, but it advertises for like what area you're in now. Like I remember I got a car ad for like a place down the street when I didn't have my VPN on one day. And it was like, what the heck? This is crazy.
I don't get any local ads whatsoever. Most of mine are like completely random.
I got a few. I can't say they're regular, but I've gotten some.
But I think also because I try and go out my way to not get anything know where I am, so that might be the reason.
Like I remember, like, back in the olden days, where we want to call them, we didn't get YouTube ads here in Denmark at all. Because they hadn't had advertisers set up for it. It's like the first thing from the age from 13 to 15, there weren't ads on YouTube here. No matter if you ran an ad block, anything, they just weren't a thing. But now I run an ad blogger.
It's sad ad block even had to become a thing. Like honestly, I love the idea of like what some people do with Patreon. Like like you do whatever on when you back up on Patreon, you get the ad free version. You don't, if you don't do it on Patreon, you get ads. I think that's 100% fine. If everyone was due to do something like that, but really Google could centralize something like that, I feel like that would be ideal.
Yeah, but that's what they're trying to do with YouTube Red.
I could care less about that. I'm talking about sites in general. If like any site that is running like AdSense or AdWords, if I could pay like $20 a month so all those sites are ad free, I think I'd do it.
Yeah, I think that an economy based on ads is usually a bad sign. Because if you think about it, what that means is that you can't get a large enough audience that's willing to pay because your audience doesn't have enough money to pay for what you're giving them. So if you're in a world where there aren't enough people with money to pay, so you have to make money by getting the few cents per person you can get, that you can't really monetize. Like one person give me 5 cents to watch this. The way to get that 5 cents is to advertise to them instead. And then it's like, we should really try to be in a world where we can maybe actually just charge people who are using our thing.
I feel like people would actually pay for it though. Like I just don't think the option has like came up yet. I feel like people would actually pay to get rid of ads.
I think what we need is like a penny system in a sense. I know it sounds weird. It's probably not the best meaning for it. It's like newspapers don't cost much at all, really, do you? You pay like 50p, or 50 cents or a pound or something like that.
Talk for yourself.
Like a newspaper. Yeah, but a newspaper isn't that expensive, and people get them every day. Why couldn't you do that with something like certain other contents? Like, hey, I want to read this article. Put a penny in, literally a penny or 2 pence, just to read a certain article.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what they want to be able to charge, but they can't on the internet in a very meaningful way without just advertising. That's their way of charging 2 cents.
That's because the internet has gotten used to getting everything for free.
Yeah, that's if you want to go back to it too, that's.
I think it's just an infrastructure problem. It's like you have to make a PayPal, and that's a nasty business. There's no like with the real physical newspaper. I have quarters or whatever, and I just use one and I get my newspaper or whatever, right? It's institutionalized in a way that's easy to use, and it's like you don't have to log in and you don't have tiny little transactions in your history. The same thing should happen someday. There should be just a single way that makes sense that I'm on the internet and I want to pay 10 cents to use this thing. I think that would work totally, but it can't be like PayPal or Stripe or any of these other things that are like, I don't want to make these tiny transactions that involve third-party services and craziness.
Like Google is the people who have to do it because they run the ads for like I don't even know what percent of it is. It's a lot. I feel like they would be the people that would have to do it. Like I like the kind of ideas like you put like money into like it's like a Google like bank account. Almost put like $50 in there, and like when if the site pops up and says you want to put like spend like 2 cents and get the ad free version or. Or do you want ads, and then you can either click yes or no. If you put then it just subtracts the 2 cents from your account or whatever.
Again,
I feel like I'd be perfectly fine with that.
The way YouTube Red does it, if just take an example here.
YouTube Red doesn't even work.
Yes, it does.
I can't even get it in this country,
I can't get it either. But I can tell you, YouTube Red has made people a lot of money.
So I have
really.
I have YouTube Red.
Yeah.
The first month or two I had YouTube Red, I still got ads.
Well, then you should have made Google aware.
What am I gonna do? Support at google.com. No one's gonna answer me. They have bigger problems.
They are.
I mean, Casey even tweeted about it, and they didn't respond to Casey. I remember that was a long time ago. Casey tweeted out.
I've talked to YouTube support many times, so you can.
I used to talk to YouTube really in the early days because I was on it since 2006. Back then though, it was only a couple of people, so it was fine.
But the way YouTube Red does it is, of course, you pay this fixed amount of money a month, and then the way it's paid is per minute you watched people's videos, normalized over so because you only have a certain amount to give out. So if you want,
yeah, so isn't it only like $5 or something? You only spend like $5 for YouTube Red, isn't it? Or is it 15? I don't know.
It's you who has it.
No.
I don't pay attention to my bank account.
And he wonders why he doesn't have money.
Yeah.
But that's and that has made two things happen in YouTube.
It's $10. It's $10.
$10.
$10.
Yeah, okay.
First, there are the YouTube Red exclusive series, which are high production value series, which would be very nice to watch if I could. But the other thing is, it has made the incentive for longer videos. Before you didn't have an incentive for long videos because you need to watch to spam as many as possible. So 5 3-minute videos were better than one 25-minute video. But with YouTube Red, you have a way bigger incentive to make a 25-minute video because you will actually get paid more for that 25-minute video.
So is it paid per minute of viewing?
It's per viewer duration. I don't know if it's per minute or what it is.
I feel like this would be a good thing to get a stat on because, like, if I don't know how many hours the average person watches. I'm not the average person, so I don't know.
But that depends on the channel.
Like, let's say they put each person a video is only getting like 1/100 of a cent or something like that. Like, I don't know how you distribute like $9.99 over like, let's say 40 hours of YouTube.
I don't know you, but one of the people who has you guys know Total Biscuit, right, on YouTube?
No.
Yeah.
I don't watch any of that stuff.
I'm not a big fan of him, but yeah, I know who he is.
I'm a big fan. But he has made bank because his videos are usually 30 minutes to 2 hours, and he has made bank on YouTube Red. It's a thing that benefits long duration or long duration content creators, and users specifically said that that's what they want.
I'd just be interested to see what they actually get though for per view. Like I have no idea what it is. Like,
I don't think they even know. I don't think they even know.
I think YouTube's trying to be more like a TV studio at the moment, more than a production company, rather than actually being for the internet in the sense. They're trying to still do the old model. It just doesn't work. I don't think like the internet model. We don't want to pay for stuff. It's been shown in software. It's been shown on the internet. We don't want to pay for stuff. I don't think it's that people don't want to pay for stuff. I think it's just people would pay for stuff if it was easy enough.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
You think so?
Netflix is the prime example for it.
Oh yeah. I
pay what £6, £7
a month, like $7.99 or something like that.
I willingly pay that. It's so easy to use. I get all the content I need. I don't need television for it anymore. That is my television. Netflix plus YouTube is my television replacement.
Twitch, YouTube, and Netflix.
Yeah, Twitch as well.
I don't need TV.
Okay, but why will people pay for something like Netflix and not pay the $25 for Photoshop? Like, what's the difference there? I don't see it.
Again, Photoshop doesn't work.
For us, it doesn't. But like for the
Photoshop isn't $25 because if you want to get the proper one, you've got to spend a fortune.
For the whole suite, it's $25 a month.
No.
A month. That is your problem. That's I don't want to get into this argument here
that's
about.
A lot though for like as much software as you get.
One is that's how we think, Zach.
I don't think it's much either, but it's just the average person won't say, I want to pay a flat fee. They'd say, I'd rather pay £100
but I don't even think that
or $100 or whatever.
They did that before, and it was like $400 for Photoshop, and nobody bought it.
But here's the thing. You're thinking with you're looking at it all with a value that we think of, but the average person uses I
don't value Photoshop at all.
But you get one product. If you say Photoshop, you get one product. It can do some image stuff. You can have a little fun, but that's it. Netflix, thousands of movies, and they're used to paying a lot. Some places more than others, but they used to pay a fair amount per movie ticket. So suddenly, Netflix has a way bigger value for a normal consumer. Plus,
I agree with that, and I just like to note this. I just looked it up, Dave. Photoshop. If you just want to get Photoshop and not the whole suite, it is $9.99 USD a month.
See, that,
Like,
A month.
Yeah. That's not bad. That really isn't. Like I don't think I'm.
It's not bad. It isn't bad for what it is.
I pay that much towards 4Coder.
But I don't really like subscription models for software, though. To be honest with you,
yeah, same here.
Yeah, there's
I don't either. No, I don't either. But
that's kind
for
of nasty.
software, for physical stuff, maybe, but not software.
Well, even then, if it's physical stuff that you get a new thing, like if it's a monthly subscription to a new product, I think if you buy, if you buy a physical thing, you don't subscribe to that either. Like if you
No, but more like you're renting things as well. Like you maybe want to
Okay,
rent
sure.
out
oh,
a
it
sofa or
definitely feels like
something.
you're renting it with Photoshop because I
That's-
bet if it expires, you can't use it. So
That's the entire notice of
Yeah,
software
but
as a service now.
the idea of rent is I wouldn't want this thing forever, but with Photoshop you do want it forever. So that's where the disconnect.
but still, are you willing to wait? Like if it was $400, are you willing to pay $400 for it?
Well,
It's that's what it is in my mind too. It's like I don't think I'd pay that much.
It depends. If you're a graphic designer, because I know a few graphic designers, that
do
they
too,
to
but
say
they pay for
that
it.
is worth it. Like they also, one of the graphic designers, he also uses Quark Express, which is a really old software, but it's worth it for him, even though it cost him God knows how much, over $1,000 or something. It's worth it for his job. So it depends. The worth is what the user needs it to be. Like £400 or $400 or whatever isn't much if you're going to make more off it if you can use that software. But for the average person, that's too much money.
It's $400 is a lot of money for a piece of software. I know.
That's why the way algorithmic that makes Substance Painter, Substance Designer, the designer sort, I love the way they do it because they have a subscribe to buy model.
I don't like those either. I've never been a fan of this.
But that's just you pay. Let's say you subscribe for 12 months. You subscribe for $9.99 each month. When you hit how much it costs, you get it. Then there's no need to pay for a subscription. You don't need to pay.
Is it more? Like is it like there's no way.
So there's
they
no
actually
interest
cost
at all.
Yeah, there has to be interest. On it.
I can't remember how they do it.
Yeah.
But
So it's not like if you're like a pawnbroker or something like that where they have interest going on until you've bought it or anything like that.
No, I believe it's a bit more, but not a lot. It's I think it's I'm trying over here on the other screen to figure out how it is.
Like
So
I
probably
feel like all of
5%
us would be
APR or something like that.
$100 for a decent piece of software, right?
I think
Like if there was a good like Windows debugger for like $95, you'd probably buy it, right?
Oh yeah.
definitely.
oh,
Yeah.
they call the model rent to
Well,
own.
okay. Actually, I'm gonna backpedal on that. If I'm convinced it's gonna last me for a long time, I have no problem with shelling out a large but lot of money up front if I feel like this is a thing that I can use for the next 5 years or so reliably and not need to, debug it all the time when issues come up or replace it really soon, right? I like the idea of paying small amounts of money for your software if it's improving over time. But I also don't like the idea of never owning the thing you bought. So there's a tension there. The best thing you could possibly have is that the software you buy is just high quality and then you pay the high amount of money for it.
Yeah.
I think that's why I think Photoshop had to switch to a subscription model. It's like, no, everyone, if you pay $400 for this, you doesn't feel like that was worth it. 'Cause you don't spend the next 10 years being like, wow, what a great purchase.
Yeah, they release a new one. What was it? What was a release cycle then? It was like every 2 years, every 3 years? I don't know.
Okay, so I found it. So if you want, and this is for Substance Painter, Designer, and Substance Bitmap to Material, so basically the three main products, you pay $19.90 for 16 months to get it. That's about 318. If you were paying upfront, it was 300. So it's a month more.
That's not that bad actually.
I think that's amazing. I think
And if they have loads of people doing that, they've made a bit of money already off that.
yeah,
So
and they also do it very fair, where you can pause and you will keep your amount.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
that's even-
so,
ooh.
so if you
that's not good. That's a really good business model.
that is they call it rent to own, which makes sense because you're renting it until you're paid for it, basically. and then you get it.
Do you still get the continued support? Like with,
you get that as long as you're paying. When you can when you've done, you can convert it to definitive license, but you only get that major revision. Then you have to.
Oh yeah, no, I don't like that though. See, I want the continued updates.
But that's you don't get that with upfront software payments anymore.
When you used to buy Photoshop, you got all the updates for like that version for like CS.
You get that.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. You get all the updates for your current major version. You don't get the next version too. You pay money for a new version.
Yeah, I've never liked that either, but I like
that's how Visual Studio that's how everybody does it.
Yeah, but that's kind of how like I'm trying to
think of an
example of this.
Even buy Visual Studio still? Like I don't even know.
Yeah.
You can.
I bought 2010 Ultimate like years.
I'm not sure why you
There's
would.
no real need to anymore. Then you got Community Edition.
Well,
unless
there's a license.
Individual meant.
There are license. You can't be a team of more 5 people. And you can't.
Yes, for individuals, there's no need to have more than Community Edition anymore.
Yeah. If you're an individual earning over 100k USD a year, there is. But
wait, off of their product or just over 100k in general?
No, it's revenue.
Okay, whatever.
Revenue, okay.
And I'd love to know how they determine that actually too. Like, can I use their compiler and make over 100k, and just not Visual Studio? Like, I don't understand that. Like, I
think it probably includes the entire suite. I guess.
Think so?
Yeah, I bet it does.
Compiler? That doesn't sound right.
Because you get the compiler with the suite, you can't get it on its own. It's not.
You can't get just the compiler.
Nope.
No,
I don't know why.
Yeah, I've never tried.
So like but anyway, I think that rent to own model is a really nice way to do it. You pay an extra month, which honestly is fair. Because
maybe if they did like upgrades for like $100, if you could like upgrade to the next major version.
Upgrade schemes are nice.
They also do upgrade schemes.
Yeah, I don't. Honestly, that doesn't sound too awful to me. Like in comparison to what some people do.
And if you're concerned about that, Zach, about okay, I want to also get right now they're on Substance Painter 2. I also want to get Substance Painter 3. You can just keep doing the rent to own. You don't have to convert to a definitive license.
But it's like that feeling of it's the feeling of owning the software and not having to keep paying for it, you know?
Yeah, and you can do that here. So I'm like
I know no matter what, like I will always have a Microsoft Visual Studio 2010 no matter what. So it's like, and that was kind of, that's just, I don't even remember how much I paid for that back in the day. But it was like, but it was something that was worth it.
But yeah, I don't know. But when they announced this, I was like, why doesn't more people? Alan, do this with 4Coder. Rent to own.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta ask actually, what is your plan with 4Coder? Is there a plan with a point where you're going to cut off like the Patreon and do something else?
Yeah, right. I'm gonna switch to once I'm at a point where I feel like I'm beta. I have a. Yeah, it sounds like somebody's.
Sorry, that was my fault then.
No, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. When I switch to beta, I'm going to phase out the Patreon and try to switch to like an official thing. Because right now I get things where like people will pledge a certain amount that's like $7.5, which is like they want to be a little more generous, but they didn't feel like spraying for that 10.
Yeah.
So like I'm like that's fine for now because it's Patreon and that's kind of the spirit of it is just giving someone some money. But once it's in beta, I'm gonna be like, all right, no, you either are buying it at the right price or you're giving me no money.
You're gonna do your own thing for this, right? You'll just like a PayPal checkout or something like.
Yeah, I'll spend a little time figuring out how to do that.
Well, I know Handmade Network is going to work on a solution for this too.
Yeah, I might do it through them if it's ready, or Itch.io if I feel like they're still doing a good job making storefronts at the time. I don't really want to do the technical part.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Bill, you're still muted.
Yeah, you're muted. Because I'd be more than willing to pay a flat fee for.
Yeah, I'm imagining it wouldn't be very expensive when you get one version. Like Sublime is $70, and that's not even an IDE.
Or $75.
I use a Sublime every day, even for work, and I think £40, which is 70. Well, at the time when I bought it, I thought it was worth it, and it still is worth it for me.
Honestly, I would say it's a fine price.
It's a decent price for something used every day when it's absolutely worth it.
Like, you could sell 4Coder for 100. I honestly wouldn't have a problem paying.
But my problem with Sublime, the reason why it's successful is that it's got an unlimited trial.
Yeah.
That is why it was successful. As well as being a very decent product as well. It's an unlimited trial that you have you get every about over like 10 or 20 saves or something stupid. You get a pop up saying, "Would you like to buy this?" And then I
Eventually
thought,
it gets annoying.
yes, I would.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I remember the first software I ever bought was GameMaker 7 Pro, and that was because GameMaker 7 Lite was free. GameMaker 7 Lite was free, and I'd use it for a couple of years, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to switch to 3D. Can't do 3D in GameMaker Lite, so I bought it. And that was only $20. That's why I'm like $70 for an editor. I bought an entire game engine for $20
like,
a long time
it's like
ago.
the
You don't have to do 3D in Light, though. That was the unfortunate thing.
What was that?
And once
I
you
figured
add,
out how to do 3D in Light, GameMaker Light.
Oh, yeah, I've seen people who
I
figured
figured
it
out
out.
in the end. The way you just do direct 3D. That's all you do.
Yeah, there's all kinds of tricks you can do to like hack game makers. I haven't looked at the recent game makers where they charge like $100 or something for craziness and whatever. And they have like it's like compiled instead of interpreted, and I don't get it anymore, so I stopped paying attention. But I did buy
compiled
7.
it?
Yeah, it's all like it compiles to machine code now, and it takes forever. It's a problem.
Game Maker language, GML was one of the worst languages I've ever seen.
And yeah, I learned that.
Oh wait, you can either do it C style with curly braces, or you can do it Pascal style with begin and end. Either are allowed, and you can just
there's
swap
all kinds of
randomly.
stuff. If this, then, like it has a then keyword that's completely optional. It's completely optional.
It's the most well-designed language I have ever seen.
It had all kinds of fantastic. It had 2 built-in integer types, and there's no structs. Right? It was integer.
for no structs.
It was doubles. There's no structs. There was doubles and strings.
So you didn't have floats.
No. You just had one number type and one string type. That was it.
Fine.
And then if you handle objects, you can index an array as long as the index is an integer. If it's not an integer, I think it rounds to the nearest integer and then does the indexing, I believe, or gives you an error. I can't remember. No, it's very, very obscure. But one thing I always thought was fun was when I was first getting into Game Maker, I had bought it, and my friends were checking it out, but they didn't want to buy it. And they were like, how do you do all this stuff? And I'm like, oh, you use their data structures. Well, a lot of the data structures weren't available in the Lite version either, like the built-in data structures. They had a built-in hash table, a built-in vector. It's not really called a vector. It was like array or something, but it was list. They called it a list, but it was basically the standard, the STD vector type data structure. Yeah. And I was like, oh, guys, you don't need to buy it. I can just implement these things. And this was like when I learned how to write algorithms. I just figured out how to write these data structures again using GameMaker Lite code instead, and I was very proud of myself. But yeah, the way that all worked was if you had an object that was like an element in a list, like you gave that object an ID, right? So it's like ID 3 means I'm dealing with object number 3 in this list, and then you index it and it has some data. And usually that data would be the ID of like an entity, and then you could reference random variables in the entities that existed. It's awesome. It's awesome. But there's no structs.
I'll have to give Game Maker credit because it was the way I got into proper programming.
Yeah.
Because before, all I did was like batch scripting and stuff because I used to be the technician for my school at the age of 6. This is probably illegal, but who cares? That was years ago. But this Game Maker was what got me into programming. And one of the first ever games I made like a little dungeon crawler, like a 2D one with a map, and you made it all walked around. And I was like, well over the top, and I was going to give him a mates on like floppy disks. Hey, do you want to play this game? Do you want to play this game? Like, it was great. And then about a year later, I figured out how to do the 3D as well. I found someone else's game that they made in 3D, and I hacked it so I could make my own. So I made it again. I made that same dungeon crawl, the exact same game, but in 3D. And I nicked all the graphics off like Google. I didn't do it, but I made the game. It was the same game that I made. And it was the way it got me into programming. I was like, this is brilliant. I've got 3D game and I've learned how to do it. I didn't learn how all the 3D stuff worked. I just got it working.
Yeah.
But it's got what got me into it in a sense. And I kind of like Game Maker for that.
I do. I have a nice Game Maker occupies a nice space in my mind too, because the language was so terrible. But the one nice thing it had was it had no high-level constructs.
No.
Right? Unless you were like trying to use their object system as like C++ objects, which people try to do, but it was a bad idea because an object was this gigantic thing with like all kinds of built-in variables. You had to do everything as a a structure of arrays, right? Because like I said, you only have two types. You can't make struct. So if you have like you want to make your own data type, you have to say, oh, this is object 3, and then you have all the arrays you can index to find attributes of object 3. That's how I learned how to program, was in this really weird low-level thing that didn't even have structs. And so now I have this background.
Yeah, I think I've got that really weird like style still going through my code today. Like Game Maker has influenced me a bit too.
Yeah, well, my first C++ code was an extension to Game Maker, so
my first C code was Game Maker as well. So it's like
you compiled like a DLL and then just
you with the Pro version at least, you could compile a DLL, and then there were two ways you could link it in. You could Game Maker Pro had a thing built in for just loading DLLs and extracting functions. But the problem is, like I said, Game Maker has two types, doubles and strings. So your function signatures all are restricted to char star and double, and they can only return char star or double. And returning char star was usually not recommended because the allocation problem there was just untractable. It's like very difficult because you don't control an entry point, you don't control an allocator, you don't know when you're going to clean up. It's just a bad idea. So you just always return doubles, always, right? And that meant if you wanted to like make a system, like I worked on a system where it's like we're going to make an AI in the DLL and then load that in because we have to do a lot of number crunching and stuff, and load that into the game and run it through the DLL. It's going to be great. Each entity, like each like of the actors in the system, got a double ID that was returned to refer to this entity that you created at this time is the one I'm talking about now.
A double to represent an ID.
Yeah, exactly. They were always but they had to be doubles because it's all Game Maker had.
So if we can draw, fine. If we can jump up a rabbit hole where we're talking about Sublime and Forcoder, which I know is hard to talk about that.
Sorry,
this is just one long digression from one thing to the next.
Let's get in there.
This is what we're buying. This is what we would buy, and then we went into the game dev rabbit hole.
So as for Forcoder, I think it should either be something like the Sublime 6 model, where you said you maybe have a non-commercial version, so you can use it on pets, you can use pet projects, you can use it on pets.
You and your garbage
will be rated for veterinary disciplines. It's true.
You and your normal garbage keybinds, they get those with the free version.
The eventual free version will allow at least visual customization, maybe not code customization. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but
I think visual is enough, honestly. Like. That's what most people seem to be caring about. Like even Atom, like most people use Atom care because it looks pretty, not because it's actually a decent editor.
Atom is real bad.
But anyway, so that have a non-commercial, so you can use an open source or just small projects on your own, and then have $70 or $100 version for commercial Forcoder, or do which is still be like the rent to own. Say you pay $5 a month until you paid me. And then you have
I might rent to own. I might do that. There's like, I don't know, maintenance costs.
For me, it's hard to determine the price of an editor. You know, I feel like it's really the same issue for you too, Alan.
It's a very odd question because I'm like, it's kind of core. It's like
something you use every day. It's important.
Like, it feels like I'm asking like a diabetic how much they are willing to pay for an insulin shot. It feels like a weird. You're a programmer. What are you gonna do without your editor?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of the things where you kind of have to look at other editors out there and price within that. You can't just say, okay, I have the bill of materials, I know the manufacturing cost, I know how much the components cost, so I can say it costs this much to make it, then I have to ship it, and then I also want to make a 30% markup, and that's how much it costs.
Yeah, but Mikkel, I don't think it's that simple, because if I'm like, I'm just gonna speak for Alan, he'll tell me if I'm wrong.
No, but that's why I was saying.
You think that's the normal business school approach to pricing an option?
No, and I agree, but it's like like I'm assuming you're not gonna call it beta till you can till it's like more of an IDE, you know, right? You're not gonna call
exactly.
It beta
once it's a beta, if I call it beta, that means it's gonna be on the 3 platforms, and it's going to be basically the IDE that I want, and it's just like. It's not. There's bugs in it still.
And then if we're calling like IDE prices are like $500. Like that's the issue.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm trying to make it flexible, and if I give you something that's flexible enough to be an IDE or a text editor, should you have to pay IDE prices for your text editor?
Like wasn't like Visual Studio Ultimate like $800 or something?
Something like it.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you only got extra things. Only a few extra things that what you used to.
So actually, to answer your question, honestly, the way I think it's going is that the core, the kernel, the core, there's the free version, which is just pre-packaged with an existing set of binding rules, and I probably make 3 of those. I'm like, if you're Emacs style, Sublime style, or Vim style, you've got an editor, and that's it, right? Build an editor, jump to error. It's basically, I've got the Emacs version almost done, is where we're at right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then there's the 4-coder like core, the system you can customize. It's just the customization API, the executable part, and that would become, the executable one of the DLLs, that would become the thing you pay the first amount for. Like if you just pay, like, I don't know, it wouldn't be, I would want it to be like $20 like Game Maker, because I was willing. The thing about $20 is it's like that was the most I was willing to like ask my parents for when I was 8 or however old I was. That's the
issue. You don't even know what your target demographic is. You don't know what kind of I saw between you like an Unreal person was using.
Yeah, I heard about this. I couldn't track it down.
I didn't either, but something like that, like they can just go and ask their manager and they'll pay like $700 for it.
Exactly. So that's where this it becomes important that I'm actually going to develop more than just the 4-coder core. I'm also going to maintain the 3 editor types eventually, and then I think the IDE, like the thing that's like, here's somebody's debugger that we put a GUI on. That is another module that you pay $200 for.
I mean, like that would work because it's even worth more than that in my opinion. Because so Visual Studio they use one platform and one compiler to work.
True.
You're going to support multiple compilers and multiple platforms, and
that's true.
As well, maybe.
Yeah,
like and you almost have 4 Vim actually going. I saw Kernel Dragons.
Yeah, Kernel Dragons helped me out with 4 Vim, which is awesome.
It just needs visual mode, right? I think it's working 100% fine besides visual mode, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much there. There's definitely some like things he needs, like, oh, if we can't change this, it won't do the highlighting in the correct order, but the behavior is correct enough for people to kind of get it. Yeah. Which, to a certain extent, it's not going to be exactly equal to Vim, I don't think, ever, but it's supposed to be something that's easy enough to transition to for anybody.
Yeah. The problem with this sort of add-on module system is you have to start thinking, where is the line drawn for what are modules? Then you have to also think about, again, you can't just say, okay, this entire thing costs $200. Now you think, okay, this thing costs 40, this thing costs 30. You adding a lot of complexity to buying a product by doing that.
Well, yeah, I think it would be that if you wanted to do your like boutique checkout, where you're like, oh, we just need the Mac version of the debugger and this, and you could build your weird packages, and I'd give you like a discount for like, way to go, mate. You built the perfect thing, but
like, I'd pay easy $200 for 4-coder. Like if it had the
I think what I would have is you get the free version, you get the like basic user version who just wants to have 4-coder and write their own customizations, and you get the pro version, and that comes with sets of modules. And the reason I said modules is just because that's an easy way for me to think about what I add to each packages. In this package, I've added this extra module.
Okay, the other thing, but you wouldn't be buying individual modules.
Yeah, not unless you wanted to really hyper customize it. I would just have packages like, here you buy everything, here you buy the core plus a few of the default modules, and here you buy a prepackaged one where you can't write modules to it.
I feel like $200 for like a cross-platform IDE, even though I don't know why I keep saying IDE in quotes, because it's going to be an IDE.
Yeah, I don't know what the definition there is, but I won't have my own compiler. I'm going to be relying on external debuggers and compilers.
No, that's fine. External's fine.
I mean, okay, so yeah, Visual Studio is an IDE the same way mine is, but my opinion of what an IDE should be is actually much higher than that, that the debugger and the compiler and the editor should actually all kind of be coupled. Yeah. If you do that, you can do interesting things, but I'm not going to do that right now.
But I feel like $200 for all of that on 3 platforms is whatever.
But then there's like, for example, Eclipse or NetBeans, they haven't made their own compiler. Some of them haven't made their debuggers, but they're making nice graphical interface for it and putting it into a consistent package, which I think is more.
Yeah, they call that an IDE.
Yeah, have you ever tried? I mean, like, have you ever tried to compile anything with NetBeans or Eclipse? Like,
No.
they're always.
Eclipse is a pain in the ass.
It's for Java.
It's not
very
worth
nice.
it.
For Java, it's really nice.
Yeah, I use Eclipse for Java.
Eclipse for Java is, I think, is the best IDE, unfortunately. Unfortunately,
it's not that bad, but for C++, it's really bad. Like, it's like
there's like when I was first getting into Ubuntu, my question was, how am I going to ever write code here? I tried Eclipse, code blocks, and something else, and all of them I was like, I can't even get this thing to build. Like, I can't. I think at one time I did get a list of compile errors, but there was no like jumped error that I could figure out how to enable, and I was just like how am I gonna? This doesn't make sense.
It doesn't come with like the proper settings set, so you can just click build. Like, it's really annoying, and it's the same thing on Windows for Eclipse too. Like, it's not just
like.
No, yeah, I guess that's one kind of IDE. I get that it's an IDE because it's one application that in the same GUI handles all the things you want to do. My opinion of what the bar for IDE should be is a little higher than that, but I guess it could be like. It's just an integrated environment of different things being integrated, and then a step ahead above that is, well, we didn't just integrate them into the same environment, but we actually integrated the products themselves into one another, so that like your compiler, for instance, can scoop out the pre-lexed, pre-parsed portions, and like one thing, I maybe Ginger Bill can attest to this because he's working on Odin, but as I've been trying to figure out what slows down compile time and what speeds it up, I came to the conclusion that one thing that hurts is when there's just a lot of files with the same amount of code, just because it takes more time to load many files than one file. I don't know if you've profiled it, but until you get to CodeGen, I imagine the early part of your compile time is loading the files off the disk.
Yeah, the thing I found the thing was taking up most time was literally loading files and writing to files. Like, I was profiling like which bit section was taking the longest, so loading up the file for the parse, like tokenizing and parsing, was dead fast. Checking was dead fast, but as soon as I was getting to the generating the intermediate representation so I could turn it into assembly, that thing was taking 10 times the amount of time as any of the other part of the compiler, and I was like, why is this taking so long? And it was literally because I was writing to a file on my hard drive, and that was what was taking so long. Like the entire part of the compiler was like 10 milliseconds, and this was 80 milliseconds. And I thought,
what about file input? Is it just file output, or is it file I/O in general?
Both in general. It was like that was taking the part, like reading and writing was taking a long time. So the way I've kind of combated that is I write to RAM first and then output the entire thing at once.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. Well, here's my point.
Yeah.
A real IDE would say, look, you're writing the code. You probably have a lot of the files loaded. There should be in RAM already if you are working on them.
Should be.
Why should a different process have to load them too? And a real IDE would just scoop those files. And I'm guessing because they're so awesome that Microsoft IDE probably doesn't do this.
No, I can guarantee that.
They almost certainly run
There's
a
no
separate child process that doesn't have any access to the editor's text.
Tiny, like you can easily put those in memory, like with no issue at all.
Yeah, and even then you could you can even say if you still want to open this another process, then at least provide the compiler a like OS pipe to get the info if it wants.
Well, I don't think Windows handles file I/O right. Like, Alan, are you on the same boat as me? Windows handles file I/O very oddly.
Oh yeah, I've been dealing with that. Windows. So I always thought Windows was awesome because it's easy to find documentation on their API, and their API in general. There's the uncomplicated version and the complicated version, whereas in Linux you always deal with the complicated version, and you have to ask, like, what do these parameters do? Do I care? I don't know. With Windows, it's like, here's the one you probably want, and then if you're fancy, you can use the hard one. Yeah. But when you start really digging into how Windows does file stuff, it's like, what? Why don't we have these features? Like, there's features that just don't exist. The organization of things is just odd. It actually is weird.
That can both be Windows self or just NTFS, how it's Because if NTFS supported it, they always can. But gentlemen, I'm sorry to cut us out here now, but we have been going for quite a while. So this is the first.
We did go for a lot longer than we thought.
We have talked about ads, about game dev, about what vocoders should cost, about what we hate in the world, which is quite a lot actually. Sadly we are not well this, but thank you for listening or watching if you're on YouTube, and I hope I'll see you next time.
Thank you and goodbye.